Profound Aesthetic was a company that we started in late 2008, early 2009, and it was born on the idea of creating essentially a graphic t-shirt company which expressed the importance of personal expression and allowing like quotes and song lyrics and graphics and things like that to communicate via graphic t-shirts. A lot of them were anti-war, pro-peace, very positive. They all had sort of like a philosophical undertone to them. We knew that we had stories to tell, and the outlet which we chose to tell those stories was fashion. I remember the very, very first t-shirt, it said piece by piece, essentially, stressing on the idea that, peace comes in pieces and, change starts within yourself before it infects the masses. Merging the aesthetic with the profound, that's the formula to what makes all things beautiful. The most important thing fundamentally is connection with other humans. And if you're able to read something and instantly feel connected to it, I think that's a hugely powerful thing. The most beautiful part of creating a business or creating something from scratch in today's day and age is the resources that you have. And oftentimes I feel like people have brilliant ideas, but they don't necessarily have the means or the funds to execute those ideas. And that's a very unfortunate thing. And luckily my two elder brothers had a construction company which they had just started, and they were making some pretty good money from that. So they allowed us the opportunity to take some of that money and invest it into creating more product. So that was a huge blessing early on. So we started out with t-shirts, but honestly speaking, we learned this entire thing on our own. It's actually myself and two others which were responsible for the early days in terms of starting the brand. I was more the artist, and my sister, she's been here since day one. She was more of the business-minded person. She was the one that was a lot more organized than I was. She made up for all of the things that I didn't have in terms of my character and my personality. My cousin as well, he's a part of the company. He's been here since day one, and he's helped tremendously along the way. We have 4 specific categories which essentially translate to every single product we make. And those categories are nature, Americana, romanticism, and anarchy. So you could pinpoint any one of our products and correlate it with any one of those categories. So there are a lot of graphic t-shirt designs that have this anti-symbolism to it, sort of like a rebellious undertone. For example, we did this specific collection called Manifesto, and the idea of that was to basically be very self-aware and know who you are and know the world that you're living in, and basically have a sense of independence and a sense of liberty. Whereas we had another collection called Beauty in the Wild, which was directly correlated to nature because we're huge fans of nature. I grew up on a farm across from a cornfield in New Jersey. So like nature was something that we grew up around. Nature was something that we were inspired by very early on. And I think a lot of our designs translate to our upbringing and our environment. I mean, this is proven to be true for anyone. Whatever you're surrounded around is what you eventually become, and that's what you eventually become inspired by. I think the brand has transitioned as we have transitioned as people, as we have grown older, as we have refined our interests or developed interest in new things. I think the brand has matured with us as well. Profound Aesthetic today, in terms of the visual, a lot of the colors are monochromatic. They're sort of muted. There's a lot of earth tones. There's creams. There's these hues that are like the color of sand. We don't use a lot of overtly bright colors because I always felt like those were very distracting, and I think the design should speak louder than the actual color. So this is a piece we have from the Spring/Summer 2016 collection. This is actually one of my favorite pieces. It's a nylon jacket inspired by like a lot of the flight jackets which were used during the World War II era. And it says, "I fly through memory to find a newborn love." And it has Japanese calligraphy which communicates strength and power and flight, and an overall positive vibe to it. It's generally lightweight, so you could transition it from late fall to early spring. And it has an inside flap right here with cross stitching. So if you want to wear it open, then you could do that as well. And it has like this cool little element attached to it. It also has these 2 draw cords, which are an additional detail. And with a lot of our pieces, there are details which don't necessarily serve a function, but aesthetically they look cool. The brand would be ideally met for the guy or the girl who is at the cutting edge of fashion, and for someone who appreciates a well-tailored product, a well-designed product, a product that is given an obsessive amount of detail. And when I say obsessive, I mean obsessive because this has become an obsession to the point where we've studied this industry, we've studied fabrics, we've studied cut and sew and tailoring. Everything is right in front of your eyes if you choose to explore it and if you choose to, sort of put in the time to develop that research and, figure out what other people are doing, figure out what you want to do, and figure out your identity. I think at the end of the day, identity is everything, and I don't think you should fit yourself in a pair of shoes that aren't meant for you. That sense of comfort is something that's very, I think, important.